everyone, and welcome to Devils United. Today I'll be doing my table predictions for the Women's Super League, which will be coming on the 10th, 11th of September. So we've got 12 teams in the Women's Super League WSL, so it won't be as long as my Premier League predictions, that's for sure. But I've made some interesting predictions. We'll have to get into that a bit more detail. Just want to say hello there to I Like Coffee and Nick Pope in the chat. Hope you're well. So, love that your new name, I Like Coffee and Nick Pope. So, I'm presuming you like coffee as much as Nick Pope now. Yes. So, we'll get onto it and I will do my table prediction. I'll go from worst to best. After all, it's always the best way to be. So I'm going to go with the team that I think is going to get relegated, as in the WSL, only one team gets relegated. And this may come to a bit of a shock for some people, but my relegated team is Leicester City. I think Leicester were extremely disappointing in the WSL last season. I know they recently got promoted. I know they had a fairly mixed squad. Their manager of Jonathan Morgan got sacked. They brought in Lydia as a new manager. But in my opinion, Leicester was lucky that there was one team worse than them that season. They had Siggy also there out on an ACL. Birmingham were absolutely atrocious last season, and I'm sure the only win that they actually did pick up was actually against Arsenal. And looking at the WSL table for last season, Leicester ended up finishing, it was in 11th place. They had 4 wins, 1 draw, 17 losses. They had the same amount of losses as relegated side Birmingham City. They had a minus 39 goal difference, which was the worst in the league. And coming into the season, you can't have a goal difference like that, especially when you are in the WSL and the league itself is so compact. The goal difference is really going to affect you massively. I'm looking at who Leicester has also signed. They brought in Josie Green from Tottenham Hotspur. They brought in Carrie Jones, Manchester United player, on loan, only the age of 18, so she's a very, very young player. They brought in as well Erin Simon from Racing Louisville, so we don't even know how she's going to be in the league either, because is she going to adapt fairly well? And you're looking, it's a massive risk, especially knowing that you have got players there who are injured, such as Siggy I've mentioned, and as well they've lost out on a fair few. They lost a fair few players. Esther Morgan's gone to Tottenham Hotspur. Sophie Barker's gone to Sheffield United. Paige Bailey Gale has gone to Crystal Palace. These players are moving from Leicester. They've lost more players than they brought in, and that's a worrying sign, because as well as the goal difference, what is also important is that they have squad depth, and losing so many players, the squad depth may potentially tamper with what will happen to them in the season ahead. So, yeah, that's what I've gone for. Aston Villa, that's what I've gone for. Leicester City to finish last and for them to get relegated. Good evening, Rather. Hope you're well. Are Leicester really that bad? Yes, they really was that bad, Rather. They was getting hammered off teams. I know, of course, Man United lost a few points off teams, but They literally got battered 9-0 against Chelsea. And that was actually Chelsea's first. I mean, that was actually Lauren James's first goal as well for Chelsea. So that really says a lot. And as well, they got battered, 5-0 against Manchester United. I think they've done extremely well in terms of what they've done in the cup competitions, because they did do well. They managed to get us in a draw where we actually, we drew 3-3 and then we went to penalties. So that is great from a point of view there for Leicester, but you need to do that a little bit more. And I do worry, do they have that little bit more? And for me, I don't think they do. Let's see. The Leicester have experienced players. Yeah, they do have experienced players in Siggy, who I mentioned is out on an ACL. Natasha Flint is another one. She has got her injury prone as well. They're two experienced forward players, but their defense is extremely poor and young, so that doesn't help the Leicester side whatsoever. Hi there to my dad. Hope you are well. Hey there, Reese. I hope you well. Thanks for coming in. Ravi's talking about the Liverpool game. My boy Nunes is player. I've got no prediction as I have no clue, but I'd tip Chelsea to win the league, Arsenal second, and Man United third. Interesting. You'll get to see what I've got a bit later on for my top three. So I'm going to go on to my 11th place team, and I have gone for Everton. Everton were awful last season. What can I say about Everton? In the space of a season, they have 3 managers. So they brought in the manager at the start of the season, come in brand new, and then got sacked around Christmas time. Interim manager comes in. The interim manager gets sacked around February. And then they've got a third manager. It's an absolute mess. They're picking up injuries, and their best player was actually a young player called Gabrielle. They've lost out as well on a young player who could have potentially hit high, gone to Manchester United called Grace Clinton. So it's going to be interesting to see what she's going to do. We have made an agreement, however, for Emily Ramsey to come to Everton for this season, who is actually a Manchester United goalkeeper on loan. And it's going to be good WSL experience, but Emily Ramsey, she is a little bit clumsy at times. And another thing with Emily Ramsey, she was in that relegated Birmingham side. So is that going to play a factor into that Everton side? They've got as well Jess Park from Manchester City, and they brought in 2 players abroad, one from Bordeaux and one from Potsdam. I'm Karen Holmgard. I'm not too sure on the kind of players, what they're like. Do they suit Everton? But when you have got a team what's not doing so well, such as this Everton side, you should be really strengthening, trying to get the best players from your rival teams. And this, personally, Carrie Jones could have really benefited with them in terms of her transfer instead of Leicester, because they still got some good players there in Everton side. A couple of them are former Manchester United players, so maybe that could have helped her. But for me, I just don't think Everton are that good enough, and they're just extremely disrupted in what they're doing at this moment in time. So I've tipped them to finish in 11th place. I can't see them getting much higher than that if they do. Let's go through to a couple of the comments. They make so many changes and they expect to do well. Says it all. Do you know what the thing is about Everton too, which is gonna be pretty surprising? Before last season, Everton was actually a strong side to finish. What would I say? there was a strong side to finish in the top 5, top 6. That was how good Everton was 2 seasons ago. And then they've been so disrupted. The team hasn't gelled as well as how they could have been. How it used to be in the WSL a few years ago used to be Man City, Chelsea, Arsenal. Forgot about Arsenal. Everyone forgets about Arsenal. They was the side who people look at and go, they're the strong ones. Then they look at Man United, West Ham, and they look at Everton as the top 4 contenders, because we was quite close in terms of Everton, was quite close in terms of West Ham. And then it just seemed like Everton just went 5 steps backwards, and they could have been really in that relegation fight last season. They actually had 12 losses last season, which isn't as bad as Aston Villa, but they only picked up 5 wins, which is only one more win more than what Leicester did. So they really need to put them ideas up, and especially knowing that they've lost a couple of players already, they're bringing in players who you look at and think, are they going to be suited to the league? Are they going to be the difference between a relegated side and being back to what they could have been, to what they were 2 seasons ago? I don't think so. I just think the bad ownership is tipping in both the men and the women's football for Everton. It's not a great sight to see. Is Lingard's cousin plays for Everton? Who's Lingard's cousin? Jesse Lingard's cousin, Everton. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Gabby George. Yeah, that's the one who. Yeah, Gabby George. She is Jesse Lingard's cousin. She is actually, and she played for the unders as well, actually, for England a few years ago. So yeah, she does play for Everton. Are England a club player really want to join? 2 seasons ago, probably so, but now, no. Maze, which teams do you think will get found out in the league? Leicester, Everton, Aston Villa at times. Liverpool. I even think Liverpool's gonna get caught out, as much as you probably don't like me to say. We'll go on to the next team now, who I think is gonna finish in 10th place, and that is Liverpool. Yes, Liverpool is a newly promoted side, and I think everyone's looking at Liverpool to think Liverpool's going to do so well, Liverpool's going to do this, Liverpool's going to go back to how they were in terms of winning titles 10 years ago. I can't see it. I really can't see it. For me, I just don't. I look at that Liverpool side, and there isn't players who is the difference between winning trophies and being a serious contender and being a relegation team. I think Rachel Furness is a great player. I really do. But in terms of everyone else, I do have my doubts, because they're all championship players. I think they are a good side. When you do play against them, they will pick up some points. But for me, in my opinion, I don't think they've got what it takes to be that bit of difference between the relegation and to be a title contender for me. And also, in terms of Liverpool, which will surprise a lot of people, Liverpool doesn't truly invest in women's football. That's why they got relegated initially, because they wasn't putting that funding in. So if they're I know they brought a couple of good players in, but if they're not going to fund again coming into the WSL, what would be the point in them being in there? And I'm looking at the players who Liverpool have brought in. They brought in 3 signings. 3 signings, really, considering you have just got in to the WSL, is pretty poor. You should be there trying to get in numerous of different players, because but even Leicester and Everton, despite them, of course, finishing below Liverpool, they haven't made enough signings. You need to have the squad depth in the WSL, first of all. And secondly, um, players are signing 2-year deals. They don't sign that many deals. So if it comes to next season and you're losing out on 6 players, you haven't got no one to cover for you. The players who they have brought in, Charlton Athletic, West Ham, and Brighton player, which is two good ones to have, really. But they've lost out on Ashley Dodson, who was one of their top goal scorers, and Charlotte Wardlaw, and she has actually gone to Chelsea. So that really shows the potential of what Chelsea think of her, because Chelsea wouldn't sign players who they think is below average, who they think is crap. So I think they're gonna struggle in that kind of respect, to be honest. So we'll quickly go through to some of the comments. Because I can see there's a few comments onto there. I've got that one off. Liverpool sold their top goal scorer Hodgson. Yep, they did. I think Liverpool might be because first time in the WSL. Yeah, they've been out for a few seasons now. Do you think there will be a team that surprises everyone, and why? For me, I'm gonna go into this team next. Who I think is gonna be the surprise package team. So that's a good question, Football Power Hour, and I'll get onto it when the next team comes on. Mays, that player Missy Boo should get a few goals. Maybe, who knows? But she hasn't played for Liverpool for a fair few years. I completely understand your thinking, Mays. If you get promoted, you need to bring quality players to strengthen your squad and aim to stay and push up, which is what we have done this year for our team. Exactly. And I'll touch on a lot more about United too when it does come to it. Ninth place, and to answer Football Power Hours. Oh, actually, it's the next team after who was my surprise team. Now I'll give it a bit of a wait, but my ninth place team is Reading. Reading, for me, they've always been a bit of a dark horse. I actually don't mind Reading as a team, but they're very physical, and the way they play, because they're so physical, that gets some points. Points where you wouldn't expect them to get points. I think the defenders are very tough, and the thing is with Reading, they are very good in terms of defensively. They don't bag as many goals as you would think they would, because you're looking at it. They only scored 21 goals in the league. When you're looking at the teams who are much higher up, Chelsea 62 goals, Arsenal 65 goals, Man City 60 goals, Man United 45 goals. 21 goals for me is pretty poor to have. They've still got a poor goal difference, but they can put a performance on when they need to be. They picked up some surprising points. For one point what they put in was Chelsea. This will surprise a lot of people, but Reading actually got a win against Chelsea, and that was their second loss of the season. And looking at the league as well, that was one of the only teams Chelsea lost against, which was Arsenal and Reading. So to lose against a Reading side, Reading's got that confidence thing. I can come in and I can beat any team I want to beat, because you've seen them do it. You've seen them put past goals. They've done it against Manchester United. They've done it against Manchester City. And I think if they know how the opposition team works, they will damage the team. So I think Reading is a very comfortable team in the WSL. I don't think they'll be at the point of relegation anytime soon. Not unless, of course, they'll lose a lot of players, because they've still got some teams who are who actually played in the Euros, and they brought in 2 players. I don't know anything about the players of Lauren Wade or Brooke Hendrick, but both one's from Belfast and one's from Melbourne Victory. And I believe with Brooke Hendrick as well, she actually is in the American international team. So to have that kind of player at Reading is a good move for Reading, because you want leaders, you want ones who have got who's won trophies in the past. And for that reason, I think Reading, having the experienced players and the players with that bit of mentality to do well, I think that Reading's going to be a very comfortable, how could I say, mid-table team. It's hard to say mid-table team, isn't it, really, when there's only 12 teams in it. I wonder where Maisy puts Villa. They've got some decent players and a good coach. They do have a good coach and some decent players. Completely agree. Rob, you mistaken Liverpool for that? Oh, dearie me. Have I missed Leicester, says Chris. Hey, Chris, hope you're well. Yeah, you have missed Leicester, unfortunately. Don't think you'll like where I put him. But yeah, you have missed Leicester. So, I'm going to go on to the next team now. And that team is in 8th place. What's wrong with me today? 8th place, I have gone for Aston Villa. Aston Villa, for me, are the surprise team of the season. So that is to answer Football Power Hour's question. This is the surprise team. This is the team what people are not going to expect to do better. Well, you look at the league last season, Aston Villa finished in 9th place, goal difference of -27. They had 13 losses. Them 13 losses, they lost as many games as they scored. So, and I'm sure they lost about 6 home games in a bounce or something, but I think Aston Villa has got an outstanding manager of Carla Ward, and I would actually, honestly, if I was said, would you take Carla Ward, I would take her at Manchester United if, for example, we couldn't get anyone, just because I think she's a very underrated manager. The way she sets up that team, the way she coaches them, she manages them, she's very direct in what she wants. She's very clear with the team, and she's got that voice on her and what you do like as a manager. She's got the qualities of what you would love as a manager. And I think she's an overall a great person. Aston Villa as well. I was actually going to put them lower, but there was a couple of things what I was surprised with Aston Villa. And I'm going to say for this one, first of all, is the signings they've made. Aston Villa has made a signing which no one would have ever expected to come to Aston Villa. They've signed Euro 2022 winner Rachel Daly, who was actually playing regular for England. And to get a player at Aston Villa like Rachel Daly, and I'll tell you what is so good about Rachel Daly in particular as well, which I think is going to benefit Carla Ward, what I think is going to benefit the Aston Villa squad so much, is that she's so versatile. She's absolutely great in terms of she could play absolutely anywhere on that pitch, and she's a leader. To have a player who has just won the Euros, who has played in America with top players, she's been everywhere in terms of countries. She's played in numerous of different leagues. She's got that experience, which is absolutely fantastic on an Aston Villa point of view. If, for example, there was an injury somewhere, Rachel Daly can slot in there if we need to be. She plays a right back. She plays a midfielder. She plays a striker. She plays a winger. And you could literally put her anywhere apart from the goalkeeper. And I'm sure if you said to Rachel Daly, come here and play as a goalkeeper for me, she would do it. Because she likes to put in that graft as a player. She likes to do what is best for the team. She wants to benefit the team. And that is what I really, really like about Rachel Daly, and that is what I really, really like about Aston Villa signing her. I think it's a very smart move, especially knowing that they've picked up some injuries. They've still got top players there of Alicia, which if Kai's watching back, he's probably happy about. She's still an outstanding winger. She's also could play up front. And they also, I'm not too sure if they're going to keep her, but they did have Jill Scott on loan last season, who also won the league, who also won the Euro League. So, and she's come from Man City. She's got so much experience. I know she's a bit of the older side, but um, she's still a great player to have at Aston Villa. And Rachel Daly for me is going to be the difference for Aston Villa between being where they are now, what I predicted, and to be finishing in fifth, to be finishing in 10th, 11th, 12th. So I've gone for 8th place for Aston Villa. Let's quickly go through some of the comments. Chris FFS lol. Sorry, Chris. I know you wouldn't have liked it. We're still struggling in League One. You know what I like, Coffee, though? This is what the problem is with the leagues in terms of the women's football. So WSL, then there's the Championship, and then there's Tier 3, as people would say it. But it's not like League One in terms of like you've seen it in the men's game where you've got 20 odd teams. They've got it north, south. So you've got 10 teams in the north, 10 teams in the south. And I believe last season Newcastle finished second in that. It was Wolves, I think, who finished in the Northern Division, won it. Then after that, they have a playoff between the North and the South, the Tier 3 teams. So the winner of the North and the winner of the South, they have a playoff, and then that decides who goes into the Championship. And in terms of that, I think it's actually pretty difficult, to be honest, to get out of that kind of tiers, because the difference between the Tier 3 and getting into the Championship is it's huge, and you've got to have that investment. You need to have the right squad to get into there. So if you, and I'm not saying Newcastle wouldn't, because I think you probably would, you would really need to invest into that team if you was to get out of that Tier 3 system, and also to get into the Championship and to stay in the Championship as well. Toon is playing for Man United. Vote yes, she is. Oh, Toon is brilliant, isn't she? It's to Russo also play for Man United. Yep, they do. Rachel Daly, the female of James Milner, could play multiple positions. That's insulting to Rachel Daly. I would hate to be compared to James Milner. Toon, black and white army. I thought you were talking about Ella Toon. I'm gutted. I'm gonna go on to my 7th place team. And the 7th place team I'm going to go for is Brighton and Hove Albion. Brighton and Hove Albion, for me, they were actually a decent team to play against. They will put in a very tough game if it's needed to be. They've got a great manager. She is quite tough in what she wants for the team. And that's what you want as well. You want that clear, direct manager who is going to say, right, this is what I want. This is how we're going to run. The problem is, so with Brighton, what I think can cost them is that they do play, as people like to say, park the bus. I know they park the bus football. It does work a lot in terms of how they play. It can win you some games because you can get the 0-0s, you can get the cheeky 1-0s. But if a team gets into it, for instance, Manchester United won a couple of goals to 0 against Brighton. Man City battered Brighton. So they need to be extremely careful in terms of that. And you're looking at Brighton, they scored 24 goals all season, conceded 38. So despite him, of course, playing the 5 at the back, it's a bit of a struggle for them, really. They've lost out as well on one of the best young players in the league, Maya Letizia, who has gone to Manchester United. She moved to Manchester United during this transfer window, and she was actually one of their best players. She could play as a fullback, she could play as a centre back. So to lose that kind of player, especially at the age she is, I think that's going to be quite a struggle for Brighton, to be honest. They've signed a couple of players. They signed 3 players overall. I'm looking at the Brighton squad because they have actually lost 6. They lost 8 players overall. One's gone to Leicester, Man United, Liverpool, Crystal Palace, Tottenham. So they're giving away the best players to rival teams, and that's not going to work well. It doesn't work well whatsoever. And the thing is with Brighton, even if they do lose some teams, some players, they can sorry, they can pick up the points, they can fix it up. I think that's great from a point of view of Brighton, but they can't lose as many players as they are and still expect, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. So I think the thing is, though, with Brighton, they can pick up a couple of points. And when we seen, I think it was around December when Man United was in poor form, Brighton was in 3rd place. So we know they can do it. But when it comes to near the end of the season with the squad depth, I think that's when they'll start struggling. Lol, come on, Maisy, it's an accurate comparison. No, it wasn't. It was a horrible comparison. What's Brighton's formation? Brighton plays as a 5-3-2. That is what their formation is. And 5-3-2, when you've got the likes of the best players such as Sam Kerr, Frank Kirby, Blackstenius, Vivian Miedema, Alessia Russo, Ella Toon, Bunny Shaw. You've got as well Ellen White when she's in her best form. That 5 at the back will not benefit you one bit. Good evening to you, Kai. Hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. You're just in time, Kai. We wasn't speaking about your favourite Alicia, but we are gonna be going on to 6th place, and 6th place for me is West Ham United. I think West Ham United is just like Reading. They are a physical side. They can pick up the fair few points. Can we talk about her again, please? No, I've spoke about her now. I've bigged her up enough. Yeah, West Ham to finish 6th. I think they're a great team in terms of they can pick up a fair few points. They've got some great players, but the thing is, they've lost out on Lyon to Manchester United. Manchester United signed Lyon. I think it was on a free, which isn't a great sign for West Ham United. They play as a 3-5-2, which isn't a bad formation to use realistically. But now they've lost a couple of players. Is that going to benefit West Ham? I think the way they play, however, because they've got great players there in Walker, Stringer, Louise Parker is absolutely outstanding as well. So for me, the way West Ham are fixed up, because they rely heavily on their wing backs to try and get a few goals, and that has shown how well they can really be. In terms of how they play, they picked up 23 goals, conceded 33. So the back three has actually worked for West Ham in terms of a minus goal difference. Theirs was actually by miles the best one. Because of how physical the defenders are, how physical their midfielders are, they're able to cancel out some players. I look at that 0-0 away against Manchester United versus West Ham where we drew. No, it was 1-1, sorry. And the way West Ham was able to cancel us out all game until we had a corner, and then they ended up counter-attacking us in the very last minute. It shows the pace, the power what West Ham United have, and it shows that if they do play how they are, especially when they've got the likes of playing against Chelsea and playing against Arsenal, you know you got to be a counter-attacking team all game, and you can pick up a sneaky goal somewhere or a sneaky point. That's going to benefit them massively. So yeah, I've gone for that. West Ham to finish sixth. Rewind it. Yeah, you can rewind it later, Kai, and then you can see me being nice about her. Can't believe we lost to bloody Forest. We both been awful. Not as awful as us. Not as awful as us. What's the keeper like at West Ham? Asked rather. And the keeper for West Ham, she actually isn't that bad, but I think at times she has been sloppy. I look at particularly that FA Cup game. She's in a prime, so that's going to benefit West Ham. But the thing is, a distribution isn't the best, and I noticed that in that West Ham versus Man City game, FA Cup. I look at some of the goals, what could have been easily saved. So I think if she's put into great pressure, she isn't the best, but I think she's a lot better than some of the goalkeepers what are actually in the league, in my opinion. We lost to Forest too, women. Not too sure how Forest are women wise. I've not watched them before. Maze, which teams do you think will prioritise the cups over the league? Manchester United will be one. Manchester City will be another. I think West Ham will as well. I think they'll be the three teams that will prioritise the cups over the league, just because you look at it and think the league is so much easier for them certain teams, and when you want success as a club, it's better to win a cup to aim for the top three rather than putting all your eggs in one basket in the league and doing crap in cups. Because you look at Manchester United, they haven't won a cup since we won the championship, and Man City haven't won the league in quite a few years, so they prioritise like the Conti Cup, the FA Cup, and that's worked for them because they're still getting success. So yeah, I think they'll be the teams that prioritise the cups. Good evening, Talk MU. Thanks for coming in. I hope you are well. I'm gonna go on to my fifth place team now, and my fifth place team is Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur for me, they're one of them teams where they can play well when they want to play, but they do make extremely silly mistakes, and that does cost them massively in terms of games, in terms of results. I look at the way Tottenham Hotspur set up. First of all, they set up in different ways consistently, so you never know how Tottenham really are used in the league. They play as a 3-4-3, they play as a 4-3-3, and they've got some great players there. Of Neville, who extended a contract at Tottenham, and for me, I think she's a great fullback. I think she can. She's got the desire and the hunger to get at the very top. But when you have got people behind you who are quite sloppy, you'll look at Ayol, for instance. She's 20 years old. And you've got her making sloppy mistakes. I think they have, in a way, got rid of Deadwood too, which I think is a great thing. You look at they brought out Hannah Fibler to Crystal Palace, great move. Get rid of Josie Green to Leicester, great move. Got rid of Rachel Williams, the 3-goal striker, to Manchester United. And you even look at that and say great move, because you want a striker at a club who's going to get you 10, 15 goals a season, because it's your goals what matter, it's your goal difference what matters. And I just don't think, for me, Tottenham have wanted to be that team who dominates other teams and win you by miles. They're happy to come to a game, get a draw off you, and then part of the bus for the rest of the game. A game what reminds me of Manchester United. Manchester United completely dominated the whole game. We had a 1-goal lead with Alessia Russo. Then it was like the 90th plus 6 minute. Tottenham got a free kick and scored. And they were happy about that because they had 60 odd possession. We had 60 odd possession. Tottenham didn't, but they got battered when they come to our ground 3-4-0. And that is the difference between Tottenham. They're happy to be a counter-attacking team, but when that counter-attack doesn't work, they get destroyed off other teams. And I think they will get battered off some teams as well. I know they picked up a draw against Arsenal for 1, and I think it was a very good draw to have. And they've picked up some draws elsewhere. They've picked up some wins. And looking at the league from last season, they had a goal difference of 1. They scored 24 and conceded 23, and that is not a good enough team to me to be in the top 4 of the WSL. So for them reasons alone, I think Tottenham are going to miss out on that top 4. Not that top 4 matters in the league. It's about top 3, but I think they'll miss out just due to that reason. Robert will overtake United soon, you think, says rather Nick Pope. I don't, right, from what I've heard, it was like Nick Pope got shared about Burger King, and then it went about. I don't know if that's right. I like coffee, but I like coffee and Nick Pope. Sorry. Spurs tried to be that side that want to confuse opposition, even just the men's or the women's. The system they play never going to stable. Completely agree. Celebrating 96-minute draws versus United women and Chelsea men. Yeah, exactly. They're happy no matter what if they get a draw. Third best goalkeeper in the league, Nick Pope. Rob, you're fighting Everton for relegation. Rather, you'll be fighting relegation in the Women's League, so it's fine. So Tottenham for me is going to be finishing 5th place. Gonna go for 4th place now. And we all know it's either going to be our Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester United, and Manchester City. And I've gone for my 4th place, which is... It is Manchester City. I don't think a lot of people are expecting this, because I think a lot of people are expecting City to finish in the top 3. But Manchester City picked up great form from February onwards, and I think if they didn't pick up that form, they would have finished 4th last season. No grudges, because we would have been in Champions League football right now if it weren't for that. But we've got to move on, because we've got to blame what we've done. But Manchester City, they've lost a fair few players. They've lost Caroline Ware. They've lost Lucy Bronze. They have also lost Georgia Stanway. That's not good at all to lose them kind of players, especially knowing them players were the difference for you getting the 3rd place. You look at Caroline Ware, her goals what she done like against Manchester United, and especially in the second half of the season, actually won her Player of the Month in the league. I just think that it's not good enough to lose them players. And I know they brought in some great players, actually. They brought in Layla from Barcelona, but would Layla from Barcelona would have wanted to come if Barcelona offered her a new contract? Probably not. They've also signed Laya from Atletico Madrid, another great signing. Dayo from Atletico Madrid. Interesting one was Sander, the goalkeeper from Everton, who they signed. And that was actually an ex-Manchester City player. So I do question on why they would sign, and knowing that they've got an outstanding player of Ellie Roebuck. Is there going to be a possible reason that Ellie Roebuck won't be playing? Is she going to be leaving? Or is Sandy just going to be playing as a second choice goalkeeper? Not too sure, but I just think the transfer strategy of losing your best players is not good, especially on a free. You wouldn't want to lose your players on a free who have got that kind of talent on them. And they've got Ellen White, who has not been on form whatsoever. She got dropped for Bunny Shaw, who I actually don't think is a good enough striker either. It is great that they've got players such as Chloe Kelly back, because Chloe Kelly was out for over a year on a knee injury. She comes back, she scores a goal, 4 assists in 5 games, comes to the Euros, gets the winning goal to win us the Euros. That's the kind of mentality Manchester City need. And the problem as well with Gareth Taylor is he's extremely stubborn. He won't use his academy players. He would rather players be played out of position. He'd rather have 11 players out of position rather than try a youth player, because there's that many injuries. And I think if he picks up a few injuries in certain areas, that's going to cost Manchester City some fair bit of points like it did last season. Because if Manchester City had that form from the start of last season to the end of last season, they actually probably, for me, could have potentially won that league. That's how good they were. They was unbeaten until the FA Cup final. City, surely, yep, it was. Can't remember what Spurs' women game was last season. They looked poor, probably against us when we battered them at home. Chloe Kelly. I know you love Chloe Kelly. I like coffee and Nick Pope. It's a bit of a mouthful saying that one. Good evening to you, Luke. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Cha-ching, I only have, because one, United have significantly strengthened but terrible coach. 2, you are mentioning it now, top players that have all bolted the neighbours. And the thing is, I know people are going to think, it's only a coincidence, but all these players who are left are best mates, plus as well, they're all British players. So it makes me wonder if something has been said with the coaching, if something's been said with Gareth Taylor, because why would it just be the British players who would be leaving the club? So that made me raise a couple of questions into my mind as well. Man City aren't the same team as they were 2-3 years ago. I completely agree, because the Manchester City team, especially when the Nikita Paris was at her best, they had such great players who were dominating the league, winning the FA Cup. I think they could potentially maybe get that back there one day, but with the way they've come in this transfer window, I don't think they're good enough to do that. You can't blame Lucy Bronze going Barcelona. No, you can't. You can't blame her for going Barcelona, because any player would go to Barcelona. But Manchester City could have also done more to try and keep her under the same breath. They imply Ellen can't stay on the side to save herself. White still, don't they? As my dad said, offside queen. That's exactly what we call her. Are Man City looking to become a more foreign-based club, similar to the men's team? Not overly an issue, but drastic change. Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking, to be honest, because even when I'm looking at the signings they've made, Australian, 2 Spanish, that were France as well, and Dutch. And they've signed an English player, Sandy, but Sandy was an ex-Everton player anyway. So I think that's what they could potentially do. Not saying it'll work, because I think you need a mixture of everything. But if they are, that's down to them, I guess. So I'm going to go on to our third place team. Everyone knows I'm going to say Chelsea. Just kidding. Third place is going to be Manchester United. I think for me, how can I say? Manchester United, this is the best opportunity for Manchester United to finish third place. Just as it's already been mentioned in the chat, we have strengthened massively into our squad. Some of the signings I don't overly agree with, but I think it's squad get depth. But some players are going to be instant starters. And still, we haven't lost players for me where I could go, meh, okay, whatever. Like, Fuso got a low, brilliant. If Fuso can get a game time, she can come back. Ramsey, low, we'll see you back next season. Tara Bourne, another one, and Fran Bentley, great. And you want to have them players to get that bit of experience, but of course, Martha Harris left, who it was taking up the wage bill, and so was Kirsty Smith. So I'm looking at the players who's left Manchester United and think they're not players who Manchester United would look at and go, bye. Like, I'm gonna miss you so much. It's just more like, okay, whatever, I'll see you later. Have a good career. But the players who we have brought in, I look at for one is Nikita Paris. Experience in absolute everywhere. She can play as a forward and a winger, very versatile. We have also got Grace Clinton coming in. Grace Clinton, a very young player. I don't think she'll be playing, but she'll be used for the future. Maya Letitia, I think she will actually be competing with Hannah Blundell to get into that fullback position. And you know what? I think she will actually get in that fullback position because she's absolutely outstanding. And knowing that Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester City wanted Maya Letitia, but she said, no, I want to come to Manchester United, shows the kind of player she is. She wants that challenge. She wants that fight. And that's what I really admire about the girl. Adriana Leon from West Ham United. So we're strengthening ourselves. We're getting rid of we're not strengthening the rivals, which is great. Also, she's an Olympic she's an Olympic winner. She won the Olympics for Canada, which is brilliant mentality to have for the club. And we have also got Rachel Williams, who came Tottenham Hotspur. I think she's just going to be used for, in my opinion, I think she's just going to be used for a backup for both Russo and Martha Thomas. I don't think she's going to be used that much. She's going to be used for our cup games. Lucia Garcia, one of the highly rated wingers in the Spanish league for the Spanish national team. And when she's used in the right position, she's deadly. She uses them isolated spaces. Her crosses are absolutely insane. Fantastic. And one who I'm going to say I'm looking forward to seeing the most is Tunkara, French international centre-back. So we have strengthened in absolutely everywhere. And that is not something I've seen at Manchester United before, because we've always looked and go, oh, we're short here, we're short there, we're short here, there. But this is what I've loved about this transfer window the most, is that we have strengthened everywhere. There isn't anywhere I could look at this moment in time and go, we badly need to strengthen, because our midfield is already so full already. And then we've brought in a centre back what's going to help with Mannion being out. Not too sure when Millie Turner's going to be out. We've got a fullback, and we lost a fullback. We've gained a fullback. Brilliant. We brought in a couple of wingers where we didn't have any. We had two wingers, and that was it, of Leah Gollan and Kirsty Hansen. So we brought in three wingers. Perfect. That means Tooney and Russo and Martha Thomas doesn't have to be played out of position. It's competition. When you need to be a brilliant squad, when you want to be the best squad in the league, you need to have competition, and them players are gonna want to do their best to try and win, to try and get into that squad regular. We've got ones who can regular start, and some are going to be cup game players. So I'm extremely happy about it. And one last thing, because I know the coach has been mentioned, or Mark Skinner, he's on his final year contract. So this is going to put the guy into serious pressure to do well. Because if he doesn't do well, he knows he's not going to get his extension. And he's been backed tremendously. Considering we had the sixth highest budget in the league, he's got some brilliant players in there. So now he's been backed. Now he's got some of the great players in there. He needs to do his job. He needs to get us into Europe. And if we get a trophy, I will be absolutely amazed about it. I'll be really happy, because we got to the semi-finals, lost to Chelsea, but we can do it. we can do it. I know we never lost against Chelsea, we never won against Chelsea, but that curse has to be broken eventually. Rather, can't have Chelsea winning the league. Ugh, hopefully not. I'll take third if it means UCL a 4-3-3 and Matt Skim Butter Biatch gets sacked. Yeah, but if he gets third and we get UCL, he won't get sacked. He's gonna stay. So he won't get. I don't think he gets sacked at all. I think they'll just run his contract up. To be honest, I think if he gets sacked, it'll be like if we're fighting relegation. I think that'd be the only way we'd sack him. To be honest, with all the signings, we should definitely get top 2, top 3, and I completely agree. The only reason why I haven't said the top 2 is because the other 2 teams are a lot more stronger for me. Otherwise, I think if they didn't have so much strength, Chelsea and Arsenal, we should be in that top 2. Chelsea will win it, Rav. They have the best player in the world and potentially the best player in the league and potentially in the world of Sam Kerr. Garcia and Paris and Leon gonna be top ballers for United. Yeah, they'll get hat tricks against Liverpool. As long as we play Garcia, Russo, Galton at front three, I'd be happy about that. I would be. I think what will probably happen, maybe Garcia might come off the bench for the first couple of games. See how she gets on, because it might be a bit difficult for her at first, and maybe Leon might start on the key at Paris. But personally, for me, with Garcia, I wouldn't want to play her against against City, Chelsea, Arsenal. I'd rather play Paris than Garcia just because of the qualities that Paris have. She's brilliant against them teams who play in isolated spaces. So that's why I would rather play Paris against them teams, but like Garcia can play for the rest against the rest of the teams. Hey there, Ashunman, I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. How good is Clinton? From what I've seen, Clinton brilliant. She made a debut at 16, 17 years old for Everton, but I don't think she will be playing a lot for United. I think she'll be playing maybe in our youth for a bit, and then she'll eventually come to our first team, maybe for cup games and stuff like that. Is Laetitia any relation to Matt Laetitia? No, Vincent, but thanks for coming in. Hope you're well. Sam Kerr and Frank Kirby are both quality. Yeah, they are. Good evening to you, Andrew. Hope you well. Hope you are right, Maze. Think this could be our year also. If you're also thinking it, Andrew, I'm even more optimistic. Emma Hayes is overrated. Yep, she is. With United squad depth, they should win the Conti Cup. Yeah, I'd be happy to win the Conti Cup or the FA Cup, even both. I'd happy with both of them, to be honest. I'd still sack it, to be fair, and bring a coach to take it next level. Yeah, I see what your point is, but say for example, he finished us top 3 and we stayed in top 3 all season. Why would you wouldn't sack him? You wouldn't, unless you've got the suitable replacement. Are we going to take the likes of Kyle the Ward out of contract? No. Are we going to be getting a top manager? Is there any top managers about? No. That means we've got to pay a manager out of contract. Are we going to do it during the season? No. So we're going to get an interim manager. Is an interim manager worth it after seeing what Leicester and Everton were like? No, I wouldn't. And that's why I think it's probably better to keep until the end of the season, see how he goes from there. If he isn't good, get a new manager in, look elsewhere, get the Leon manager. I love the Leon manager. I'd love to have Carl the Ward, and maybe eventually one day get in the under 21 academy coach. But for me, I wouldn't sack him unless there was a very good reason to sack him, because I don't think Man United would get a permanent manager. They will look at an interim, and I don't think that would do. It'll do more harm than good, especially with the amount of changes we've got. Him and Nikita are going to be like Bonnie and Clyde. Yeah, I agree. Mark will meet his targets. Trust me, he won't get the boot. Exactly. I don't think he will get the boot. Maze Garcia is a starter. Yeah, she definitely is a starter. Thoughts on Liverpool's keepers? Liverpool's keepers championship quality. I think they probably will concede a fair bit. So I'm going to go on to the second place for me. Sorry to disappoint all, but I'm going to go for Arsenal. I think Arsenal's going to finish in second place. Arsenal have an outstanding squad, and Arsenal did what Arsenal does best: bottle things. They bottled the league the very last day of the season. They was unbeaten right until January, where they got beaten by Birmingham 2-0. And that is not what Arsenal should be doing. Looking at the league from last season, Arsenal had 17 wins, 4 draws, 1 loss. 1 loss all season. No other club had as few losses as Arsenal. Either Chelsea, who won the league, had more losses. They had a better goal difference than Chelsea of 65. Conceded the least goals in the league of 10. So they've done absolutely, and the goal difference, same amount of the points, 55. But the draws was what cost Arsenal from being a title winning team to second place. Lost against Birmingham, as I've mentioned. They drew in the second game of the season against Man United 1-1. Realistically, they should have really lost that game. But I'm not going to take no judges about that one. If you're wanting to be the best in the league, they've done half of it right. I think Jonas, I think he was a great manager in terms of what he done at Arsenal, but I look at it as well. Kane Little's back, great. Kane Little is back, but they've lost Nikita Paris, so they've lost there some experience. They've lost Tobin Heath. She's gone to OL Reign. Alex Hennessy has gone to West Ham. Lydia Williams has gone to PSG. So you're looking at top teams snatching up players there, and as much as 2 signings could be enough for Arsenal, they've still lost a fair few players. Knowing that they've got Europe and they've got 2 cup competitions, but they won't be in the group stages of the Conti Cup due to them being in the Champions League. For me, I just think that they could have done a little bit more. I'm going to be interested to see on how the likes of Blackstenius gets on for the season. It's the same as how she done for Arsenal in the second half of the season when she came in and gets a fair few goals, they'll be fine, especially with Miedemar. But if they have that Euro downfall on them, they may struggle. So yeah, Arsenal for me, second place. Norwich versus Bournemouth live watch along EFL Cup. Nice. Hope you well as well. Thanks for coming in. Arsenal was lucky against Man United both games in the league. I completely agree, because even that 2-0 loss, they wasn't overly convincing in that game, and I think there was just a couple of errors from our defence as to why we lost that game. And it was a shame because Mary was so angry on that game as well. So I'm going to go on to the first place now, who I think is going to win the league. And that's going to be Chelsea. I just couldn't see no other way for Chelsea, to be honest. I think Chelsea do have some great players already. They've got Sam Kerr, they've got Frank Kirby, they've got Beth England, they've got Jess Carter, they have who else? Jess Carter, they've got Millie Bright, they've got some else, and they've got Lauren James to properly break through as well. So they've got players for the long future and for the now. They're very set up, and I'd say they're set up for the next 5 to 10 years. They're such a strong team, and they've already strengthened massively. They've signed in 8 players already, and one who I'm going to mention is Eve, who is the French international, who actually won that, who got that scored that winning penalty against the Netherlands. And having that kind of player as a fullback, absolutely outstanding to have. they've got Charlotte Wardlaw, who they've got some great feelings about. Butchanan, who from Lyon, getting a Champions League winner into your team. Wow. Wow. Chelsea have made some great business in this transfer window. Knowing that they've already got a great team already and they're strengthening getting winning teams with that kind of winning mentality. I genuinely think they probably will walk the league, depending on how everyone else does. But Chelsea by a mile is going to win. And even last season, they only drew 2 and lost 2. They won 18 games. They scored 62 goals all season. So great, really. It's great, and they've got world-class players in the team, and a couple of the players have been shortlisted for Ballon d'Or. So what does that really say? But yeah, that's my table prediction. Fingers crossed I'm wrong and Manchester United win the league. But I can only remain hopeful. If we win the league, I'll be chuffed. I'll be really chuffed. Crystal Palace leading against Liverpool. What? Seriously? Yes! Buzzing. I've got to see this. They are too strong, I agree. Chelsea was the best team by miles, exactly, and they're one of them teams that they don't care who they play against. They will batter you. They will batter Arsenal. They batter City. They batter us. If they can batter any team they want. They just can't do it in Champions League. So far, Chelsea, which players are injured at the moment? I don't think they've got any injuries, to be honest. They've got everybody fully fit, so it's not good. Zaha, Eze. Ravi, not many people do like the Chelsea team because of their manager. Exactly. I don't like Emirates either. Hopefully, Chelsea can't win the Champions League. They're basically like the Man City men's team. They can't win Europe. Yes, 1-0 Zaha. Oh, what a shame, Ravi. Crystal Palace playing a 5-4-1 and taking the result. I had Palace to win 1-0 as well. I think I had a 2-0 for Liverpool, but oh well. Yeah, Steve Bruce formation. Hopefully it stays 1-0. I don't think it will. They'll probably end up coming back from it. They always do, Liverpool. But I'll wrap it up here now anyway. Thank you everyone who's watched, seen my table prediction. If you're watching back, put in the comments on what you think your table prediction is going to be. Who do you think is going to get relegated? Who do you think is going to win the league? I will be live later on in the week. Table predictions. I've got a Liverpool preview as well. Got some outstanding guests on there of Doug and Jack, who will be both coming on, top Liverpool fans. And I've got a Sporting watch along again because I did have some great reviews about that. So Sporting versus Porto, which is going to be a great game for Liga Portugal. If you haven't already, go and join the Fantasy Football League. D76 IRQ. As I've mentioned, you will win a free ticket to a Manchester United game at Old Trafford. And that game has been confirmed, and the game is going to be on the 4th of December versus Aston Villa. So if you are wanting to get to that game, support our ladies, join the league, you may get a free ticket from me for the 4th of December. But if you do win it, make sure you got your hat, scarf, and gloves, guys. Like, you get what I mean? Yeah, you gotta get warmed up, especially in Manchester. It's always freezing. Yeah, so everyone, thank you all so much for watching. As I've mentioned, hit that like and subscribe button. Inhale and break at half time guaranteed. Clash Dream Maze, as always, you ace it. Thank you so much. Means a lot. Doug and Jack on your own, you're outnumbered. The good thing is they're unbiased Liverpool fans, and I like them both as Liverpool fans as well. I had to have them both on because I like them both, and they both know I like them. Goodbye, I like coffee. have a lovely week. I'll probably see you tomorrow on John's channel. So I'll see you soon. I like coffee. Evening, Mike. Hope you're well. May's defo outnumbered. I was always outnumbered last season with my previews, but as I've mentioned, I've got two great guys, so I'm not gonna complain. Hey there, Torsen. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. At Old Trafford as well. Yes, it is. I've already got my ticket for the Old Trafford game, so looking forward to it. But I won't keep you all now. Enjoy your night and enjoy the Liverpool game, everybody. We'll see you there. It will be on Thursday. So take care. It's a goodbye for now.